Thank you, Chair. Good morning, colleagues. Chair, firstly, it would serve this committee great justice to give us the legal codes that legal is basing their decision on, particularly because once we have that, then I would call for a caucus break for all parties to consult their legal opinion on this, because it does not make sense. One, this meeting was called in the same way that the previous meeting was called, where Advocate Terumotau and Ntate Ngubane were present, and we were able to engage them and ask them without the minister there. There's nothing that is stopping us from engaging Solani, from engaging Simane, from engaging Ngwenya, and the whole lot. There's also nothing stopping this committee from calling Nobuhle Nkabane back in her capacity as a private citizen to come account for the role that she played as part of this committee's efforts to holding previous and current administrations accountable for the work that has to do with the state's coffers. So if Nobuhle is not here today, if Dr. Nkabane is not here today to respond, in the same way she wasn't there last week Friday and we were able to engage others, I move that we continue to engage the people who are here today. We thoroughly do what we did the last time, and then she be called back and come. In the same way that this parliament has in the past exercised its muscle and teeth to summon people who sit outside of the executive to come and account before parliament. There's nothing stopping our job here altogether. And I also want to caution, Chairperson, that when legal gives an advice to parliament on how parliament must conduct itself, it must apply itself not in alignment to a rigid way of viewing the role of parliament, but do so fairly in the spirit of what this parliament, and not just this committee, is supposed to do. Whether Nobuhle Nkabane is minister or not does not change the fact that she lied, she committed fraud and a statutory offense. The law will deal with that, it's good, but these people are here and they must respond.
Thank you very much, Chair. Greetings to the members of the committee and
Support, Chair, what you're proposing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Souls.
Honorable Chairperson, there's wisdom in knowing when to stop and move on. This cannot now become about the former minister. It was about accountability and what was done wrong. The question before us should not be, should people be held accountable? The answer is yes. The former minister should be held accountable. The question should be, should that accountability process continue in this committee? That's the question. There are other processes, parliamentary processes, where she would have to appear. And the statements that we received was what we were going to use as evidence to probe. If I'm now going to ask these questions again, Chairperson, I'm going to get answers like I'm answering for myself. I'm going to get answers like, and what are we going to use it for? Let us not be emotional. We have achieved our aim. We have done what was in our power to do. Let's now hand it over to the other structures to deal with it, and then we provide oversight, because it's still a matter that impacts our committee and our sector. So we can be watchdogs over it if we want to. But here, let's move on. Let the evidence be given in the other structures where this matter will still be continued to be heard, and let us continue with what we still have jurisdiction over. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I like how you guys time yourself. 4 seconds left, 3 seconds, you close it. Today, you're doing well for yourselves. Colleagues, there's a principle in law called the principles of natural justice. What does it do? It says if somebody alleges, in order for you to give an opinion over what somebody has alleged, you must give the other person who is alleged against a responsibility to respond in order for you to close the matter, right? So legal says that the minister, we were questioning whether the minister lied to this committee. This is what we're doing here. Whether the minister lied or misled this portfolio committee by saying that she had an independent panel that dealt with the matter. That is why we asked the meeting. I will refer you to your own resolutions of the meetings of the 18th of June. What you do say there? You said we want to get to the bottom of whether the minister lied or not. And therefore, Chairperson, write to the panelists and ask them to give us written responses by the 25th of June and tell us what is it that, what was their role in this thing, whether this thing existed or not. But you colleagues said, we want to prove that the minister lied or did not lie. So that is the primary reason for this thing. That is what, now the minister, whether she lied or not now, there's nothing that we will do. She's no longer in our space. There's a different committee that now can deal with that particular issue. This is the ethics committee that Honorable Khakhau did there. But we can't, when we continue with the matter, legally, Phumelele, maybe help us. Legally, how will us continuing with the panelists help this committee? Because you remember, committees are created under Section 55 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa on behalf of Parliament to do specific job, which is to do oversight of the ministry and the department of that particular issues. So we can deal with issues, for an example, on social development. Even though we're members of Parliament, in this committee, we can't deal with issues of social development. So Phumelele, this is what I informed members. I've given them time to do. I don't remember any of them giving me any legal thing, except us asking that they are consulting. No, you do. I fully agree with you. I'm going to give you, I don't know, is that a point of order?
Not necessarily a point of order. I do think it's fair that we are able to register alternative views or differing views. Mine is the legal advisors for Parliament is correct in that cabinet ministers are supposed to come and account. But there's a missing link here that is not being considered. Here's the link. And the link lists in 3 sets of legislation. One being Rule 167 of the National Assembly Rules, read concurrently with Section 14, subsection 2 of the Powers Act, the Powers, Privileges and Immunities Act of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act 4 of 2004, empowered under Section 56 of the Constitution. If Kibala alone, Chapter 5 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament, that subsection 14 of it, it makes specific reference, and I quote open, the committee can summons any person to appear before it to give evidence or oath and affirmation to produce documents. So while it is true that Minister Ngabane is no longer a minister of this committee, reporting to this committee, what is true is that what we are investigating here, what we're conducting oversight here, is not concluded. This committee hasn't concluded its work. And so in order for us to give her the right of reply, which she can deny if she doesn't want to come get it, and then we can fight her to get it. But the bottom line is, if she doesn't want to come here, she's still an MP. It's very easy to give a summons letter to her for her to come here, as is empowered by the 3 sets of legislation that I've given you, as that being the case. Number 2, the point here is, which I think the legal team is saying, this committee can still continue with its work by engaging any persons. So the argument of ministry no longer being there and therefore ministry no longer having a need to serve before this committee on an unconcluded agenda item of this committee, that argument doesn't hold. So if we're not going to have them today, then committee will have to move that they must be summoned to come back with their minister.
Okay. No one is arguing anything about summons here. No one is arguing. The point here is, when you are doing inquiry, maybe that's the point you guys are missing. What were you doing an inquiry for? Desiree, Are? Yes. What were you doing an inquiry for?
Well-
And if you say you want to continue, you are continuing with what?
Okay, I'll make it very easy, Chairperson, because you signed the letters that went to officials.
On what they would have alleged, right? These ones who you are saying we must, just because we must be seen to be fair, the material conditions don't allow. They've changed. The minister is not there to respond as a minister on this part. And don't forget, and I agree, this thing can't be a commission of inquiry. By the way, the issue of this panel is not legislated. It's not on any legislation. It was what the minister did herself. That is why it was, when you say it's her that must respond to this issue, it was what she termed an extra mechanism for governance, for transparency. That's what she did. So, unfortunately, the panel itself is not legislated. Even when you want to continue querying it, you must query it with that particular minister in his position or her position as the minister, because it's her who took that particular decision. Lonzi?
No, thank you, Chair. I think, Chair, the principle that we must take here, because we've got an opportunity as the Committee of Parliament to guide the future processes of the department and the ministry. So I don't want this matter to be personalized, that this is an individual matter. But part of the importance of getting the facts of the matter is that how do we avoid this from happening again in the future? And the only way of avoiding this process, because remember, one of the things that we're empowered with as not only members of parliament, but also as portfolio committees, is to introduce amendments to the Higher Education Act. I think it's something that we've always been speaking about. So at the end of this process, yes, the minister is gone, that's fine, we're past that, but I think as a committee we must be at a level of saying, if we were to bring in an amendment, how do we bulletproof this particular process of appointment of SETA boards, of appointment of NSFAS boards, and many other appointments in the department, such that we don't have this problem? Because actually, Chair, it doesn't only start when the minister lies. It starts in the appointments themselves. When members said, why are we having politically aligned people here appointed? Why are we having children of ministers appointed? So the importance of getting all the facts towards the conclusion of the matter is such that the committee must be able to present before Parliament, say, having traveled this route, we are now proposing that to create much greater integrity around appointments in the department, this is how the process must take place. Thanks, Chair.
Governor?
Chair, maybe if Chair, you would assist this House on giving.
Thank you, Chairperson. I have two proposals on how we move forward. I think the consensus in the room is that we must engage the panelists who are here today so that we can conclude our work. Two proposals. One, you are correct that the material conditions around the minister were different on Friday to today. You are right. That, however, doesn't mean just because she can't voluntarily come and because she's no longer in cabinet, that she's no longer supposed to appear before this committee. That's why then, to make sure that we thoroughly do our job and satisfy your concern about her right to reply, this committee and yourself and the chair you are sitting on give you the power to summon her to come and conclude on the matter. That way you can give her right to reply. So that's number one. Number two, Chairperson, What I'm asking here for us to consider is for us to not have these people go back. We must be able to engage with them today, let us ventilate and move forward so that we can wrap up on this thing. Whether ethics concludes to deal with her and her fraud, that's great. That's what the DA wants in any case. Public protector must do the same. So should the hawks, which they are busy with. So that is not an independent thing altogether. So if we're not agreeing, Chairperson, with yourself on the way forward, then I call that we vote on this matter.
It's very funny that you don't have voting powers, so you're calling for a vote. Honorable Khakhau? No, you don't. We have something called ATC in Parliament. Very serious. Parliament is not a Khakhau.